Welcome to yet another empowering episode of Kasi Moguls in the Making. I am Ntombana Wagwa Mabena. As usual, we are at the Granite Bar and Lounge in Epony Park on the outskirts of Tembisa. Just remember to please like, comment and subscribe to the Just a Taste Productions channel on YouTube so that you can keep getting more and more of this beautiful and empowering content. Today we're going to take a bit of the twist to a concept of businesses. To us, businesses are those that make us money, that put food on the table, that tomorrow we can leave legacies behind for our loved ones, for our children. However, there is a bigger concept to business, and that is the one of businesses that are centered around the community, developing the community, being engaged, being involved in the community outside of making a profit. So for that reason, today we are joined by the lovely Nonhlanhla Dube, who herself runs a not-for-profit company in Tembisa. Welcome, Nonhlanhla.
Thank you for having me.
It's so lovely to have you here.
Awesome.
I think a lot of times when we talk about business, as I mentioned earlier, it's often about how can this make me money. But I love that we're having you on this show because we start to think beyond money and we start to think towards impact.
Yeah.
And how do we grow skills and how do we grow people and how do we change the narrative of the township outside of making a profit, right? And I think that's the type of business that you are running currently.
Yes,
Isn't that so?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If I may ask, you are from Tembisa, born and bred here?
Yeah, I was bred in Tembisa.
Okay.
Born in the south, bred in the east.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Tembisa full time in Busmuzi. And yeah, that's where I grew up. Went to school at Tembisa. Yeah, my mom is at Tembisa, my kids were at Tembisa. So yeah,
oh, wow.
Tembisa through and through.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about the Imibala Foundation. What inspired it and what was it that you woke up one day and decided, I want to do this? And over and above having a financially beneficial business, what was it that you felt like you needed to start this first or focus on this in particular instead of a profitable organization?
Okay, so it's the only weird thing about me with this. When I started out, it wasn't a business. I looked at it as something to give children something to do. You know, there's not much to do by Tembisa, to be honest. Especially mainline smooth side. Honestly, Asna library,
Yeah.
Asnama park. There's no functioning parks. Like, you get what I'm saying? So what I wanted to do was, because I have 2 kids of my own, and I was thinking, during school holidays, what do they do? I struggled finding something for my kids to do. So because it's just them doing that, they only just want to go outside and play. So I was thinking, let me do something that my children can do with other kids and they all enjoy it. And I like reading. And I was thinking, kids don't know how to read for meaning. So let's do this. And then we started Holiday Book Club. This was in 2017. This was July 2017. And then we continued with the Holiday Book Club. And then it evolved because I was thinking, it's a good idea to bring literacy program to the kids, but just on school holidays, it doesn't have real impact. Then I thought about a way of bringing it to the people, almost like a daily thing, because you have to read daily. Like reading is like a muscle that you have to exercise, you know. So at the time, it was still Blackbird projects. It was just an NPO that I did with a group of friends, and it went on for about 2 more years. And then later on, I was thinking, you know what, I need to increase this impact, and that's when the business idea of it came in. However, also the making money aspect of it wasn't really at play. Just the notion of bringing development and starting initiatives that encourage people in the community. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah.
So when you look at your organization in the space of a year, what kind of programs or activities are consistently running throughout the year?
So throughout the year, we're doing literacy programs and therapeutic art classes for kids. That's what we're doing. So this year, I've been working with early childhood development centers strictly. That was a strategic move for me because my aim is to work with children in the foundation phase. Kind of give children support, but also give schools support. Because honestly, township schools are overwhelmed. Our teachers are overwhelmed. I talk to teachers like on one-on-one and ask them, how are you kids doing? Like when you mark your exams, what's happening? And they're always complaining like these kids, they don't know anything, but we mark them and we pass them so that they move on to the next grade. That's what I'm trying to do here. Bring in learning intervention programs to schools. So with COVID, even pre-COVID, there's just a whole lot of red tapes and stages and departments to go through to actually get into schools and work with the schools. So working with ECT centers, that was a strategic move because there are no SGBs, there are no red tapes, there's no HOD to say no. So yeah.
Why did you choose literacy in particular? Because I think we live in this world where STEM subjects in particular are a focus and they are promoted and encouraged for children and also highlighted as skills of the future. So what made you choose literacy?
So I remember when I started the Holiday Reading Book Club in 2017, I had read that 2016 they reported that almost 70% of kids in grade 4 don't know how to read for meaning. And that bothered me because even I would bring kids to my house and let's say, let's read some Dadabela books and stuff. They still wouldn't be able to read just a paragraph and understand it. So I think for you to be an engineer, you have to be able to read and understand what you're reading.
Yeah.
So anything starts with reading for meaning. So it starts there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why literacy.
Comprehension,
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. How has your understanding of what it takes to run an NPO and NPC changed ever since you started? So when you started or before you started versus now that you're actually in it, has your perception changed, your experiences, have they shaped what you now think about what it takes to run such an organization?
I think so. I studied entrepreneurship, and when I did this course, that was not what I wanted to do when I went to my city, but I did that, and I don't know. I believe in right place, right time, and I remember when I was doing my last year, there was a module where we were studying NPOs and all of that. Something stuck with me, but I didn't say like, I want to start an NPO or whatever. And when I started my NPO, it wasn't about how do I make money, how do I secure funds, it was just a matter of creating impact, giving people opportunities, giving people experiences that they are not used to. And right now, 5 years later, I'm thinking how it has changed is in as much as I want to bring in an impact, I want it to be a lasting impact. I don't want it to be an impact for today and then tomorrow they still have to hustle for some, you know what I'm saying? So I want it to be an impact that's going to last, that whatever that change or development that I'm bringing to someone's life, like they can pinpoint it and say, if it wasn't for this program or if it wasn't for this person telling me this, then I wasn't going to make it to this. So right now my understanding of this sector has changed in that sense, that it's not a fly-by-night type of situation.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you believe is the role of the community when it comes to NPOs and organizations such as Imibala?
I think the role of the community it's bigger than your everyday people. I think the support that is required mostly is the people in leadership positions to support people that are supporting the community. I think NPOs are in a great position to become the bridging gap between leaders and people on the ground. And when I say leaders, I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about people owning establishments like these. Those people are leaders. Principals, those people are leaders. People owning a crèche, that person is a community leader, So them working with civil society, it helps bring the gap between the government, people and services. I think we know what is the problem and we know how to tackle and bring the solutions. Because on a big scale, we can say, yeah, we have a problem of teenage pregnancy, but on the ground, what are we doing about it? It's civil society who knows what solutions they work. You can distribute condoms, but what else? What else? We need to talk to these people. You know what I'm saying? Do they know how to use them? Type of situation.
That's true. So where do you believe childhood education should be in South Africa? I think it's a big topic with regards to education in this country, how we compare to other countries, as Africa, how we compare to other continents as well. So where do you believe that children's education should be in this country, and how do you think that Imibala is contributing towards reaching that?
Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the whole country now because honestly there's great schools out there and then there's our schools, weird ones somewhere. So I think obviously education should be in a much better position than we are in right now, especially early childhood education. This is not just Emma crèche but foundation education, Emma primary schools. There's this notion of learning through play. I believe in that. I believe people get to absorb things and retain them when they're having fun and doing that. And I think the programs that we do as Imibala Foundation are perfect for foundation learning. And I think in that way, children are able to learn through play, but also be able to retain in the next grade what they're doing.
Absolutely. Can you tell us about the partnerships then that you have with these ECD centers and these ECD professionals? Why are they important for a foundation like Imibala, and how are you then cultivating these relationships?
Okay, so Imibala Foundation, at the moment, it's a one-man show there.
Okay.
Yeah. And because of that, also that's a very strategic decision as well for now. Because of that, I'm working with two ECD centers to not overwhelm myself, because already with just one center, there's a whole lot of things that I needed. And adding a second one, it's double the work. So if I'm going to add more, I'm going to go crazy. So what I do with the relationships that I've built with the centers is that I'm a not-for-profit organization. I don't charge what I do. So one of the centers is actually based in an orphanage center. That ECD center, the children don't pay school fees as well. The teachers are volunteers in the center. So what I do, I come and bring in the therapeutic programs for the kids. And to be honest, I don't want to make it seem all glitz and glamour. It's very difficult working with the community, whether you're working with the kids or the teachers or whomever. You just need to find a common ground where you can find development. The whole point of us coming together is to promote development of the community. So that's what we do. So how I do it, I engage them. Like I sit down with them and I show them what I think is going wrong and what kind of solutions I think we can implement. Then that way we move forward.
And I think a big part of it is obviously building those long-lasting relationships.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, these are not once-off exercises. These are not once-off activities. So it's about sustaining those relationships over time as well. Just, you mentioned two centers that you're working with. Do you see yourself expanding outside of Tembisa?
That is on the cards, and let me just say yes, I do.
Yes. Okay.
It's not complicated.
That's good.
Say yes.
That's lovely. So because you're running a company based on the community benefit over the profit, in what ways is this challenging for you? You just mentioned one-man show. You just mentioned not-for-profit. What are the challenges of that? And then, but where do you find your reward out of it?
So with working with the community, the whole point is bringing a specific service to the community, right? whether it's just life skills or whether it's food, like people who don't have food or whatever. So you always need some kind of material,
Yes.
whether it's tangible or it's a service, you need it. And in the world that we live in, you need to trade something for something, you know. So it's very challenging to work without money, without profit. But then, as a person, where you have to build relationships, as you mentioned, lasting relationships. Sometimes you have to walk in there, ungazi muntu, and speak your truth. You know, not knowing who's gonna say yes or no. But then, those are the challenges. Not being able to make the money, because the kind of service that I bring to the community is very needed, but I can't charge them because they can't afford me. So I have to still bring it to the community, you know, and be innovative about how to make it work, not how to make the money, because money, honestly, it's not something that you actually see, especially if you're not selling a product. We are not selling Tina, you know. We are giving. That's what we do. We're in the business of giving and developing.
Yeah. Do you think we should get to a place where, just as with a profitable business, we start viewing NPOs not as charity, but as actual organizations that can be sustainable over time? And do you think we can develop NPOs, NPCs into something that is sustainable? Because the work you are doing is very important. But what happens on days where you are unable to provide the service? How, and at that time you're working with 5 centers, let's say. What happens on that day? Do you think we should get to a stage where we're running sustainable NPOs that can run even without us, the same way we want to run profitable businesses without us?
Yeah, I think that is a possibility. I don't even think I know it's possible, you know. I don't like the word charity. I'm sorry if your name is charity, but the fact you're going to be looking at it as charity, then even a mindset here to the way we work with our beneficiaries, you find people who work with beneficiaries but because of the words we use, like charity. No, please, no.
Yeah.
It is possible. I mean, when you look at countries like the US, they've got. I was just this week. I was doing research, and they said in 2021, 10% of their workforce was from the non-profit organizations. So you can imagine, if we can put the same energy that we put in SMMEs, like South Africa, because we have a whole lot of communities that actually need not-for-profit companies. If we use the same energies also to NPCs, I think the weight of creating employment won't fall on one sector, but we'll all be in a position of creating employment. It's a not-for-profit sector, but that doesn't mean that people don't get paid. People must get salaries.
Yes.
People must be fed. So in that way, employment increases in South Africa. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So then how do you financially sustain this? Is it purely out of your pocket, whatever costs do come up?
So when I started, it was purely on donations and sponsors and all of it. No, let me just say donations. And then last year, I was just shooting my shot, and I applied for the National Art Council funding, and I got that. I got a 50k injection, and that helped me to buy material. So this whole year I've been working with funding that I got from the National Art Council, and also donations that I get from organizations such as Butterfly Art Project. And there's people, man, who are willing to. So when you ask, like when you go to a person and ask, I mean, even the Bible says if you don't ask, you don't have because you don't ask. So you must go there and ask. That's the only way I'm sustaining this. There's no financial muscle that I have, you know.
And again, it goes back to the concept of us saying it shouldn't be charity. When you went for that request for that sponsorship, you sold the value. of this to the community,
Yes.
the value of this towards children, towards education as a whole.
Yes.
So it's about understanding the value of this offering and this service.
Yes.
And in understanding that and being able to articulate it and comprehend it, I think the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
So managing cash flow for an NPO, I mean, you just spoke about the sponsorship of 50,000 Rand. How does it work? You know, how do you manage those funds, and who are you accountable to? What is your secret weapon, you know, to managing this money?
There's no secret weapon. You have to report. You're accountable to the person who gave you the money. So you have to send through reports, show them what you did with the money, and show them evidence of what you're doing still with the money. And in that way, you can account to them. You see, this is how I used your funds, and if you can give me more, I can do more.
Do much more, yeah. So the weapon, I guess, is accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
Yeah, okay. Community work is challenging, and I think it's because people generally prioritize, you know, putting food on their table, I suppose.
Yeah.
So naturally, community work can be challenging. It can require ourselves to stretch ourselves. So are there moments where you now felt like you had taken on more than you could handle, and you felt you had perhaps made a mistake?
Oh, I think maybe every second day I wake up and I think I need to dust up my CV, go get a job somewhere, go get a 9 to 5. Yeah. Like I mean, singabantu, you know, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna wonder, like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? So yeah, that happens to me.
Ish.
That happens to me.
Yeah. But then if that you do have those moments, what is that one thing that still keeps you committed to this?
If I don't do this, then I'm gonna go do something I don't like.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it's something that I won't really be into. Yeah. So I think I've been avoiding doing this, going all in full time for some years, and that has delayed my progress personally. So now I'm trying to not be tempted to give up again.
Yeah.
So however hard it may be, I've got 2 kids, I've got bills to pay, I've got school fees and transport and all of that to pay. But I try to not let that become something that is bigger than what I want to do. Because what I want to do is live my life fulfilled, and this fulfills me. And that's why I do it.
Wow. I think a lot of us could learn a thing or two from this.
It's not easy though.
Yeah.
It's fulfillment, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Now you spoke about it not being easy. So what does it require of you mentally and emotionally?
A lot. I mean, I think everything that everyone, whatever that you do, requires something from you emotionally, mentally, and yeah, it requires quite a lot of things. And meditation, just meditate.
Works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just meditate.
Okay.
Yeah, bring your power back.
Yeah.
Fuel
Okay.
yourself up.
How do you deal with burnout when you are feeling tired and feeling exhausted? How do you find you center yourself and you relax and you take time out? How do you do that?
Yeah, like I said, meditate. I think my mother was not a millionaire, and one thing that she gave me is prayer, and I built on that. So through prayer, I found other things that bring me back to myself, back to my center, and I think those are the things that refuel me, like meditation. I'm a big praiser. I like praise and worship. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I don't look like that, but
I didn't know there was a look to it.
Well, other people, they will tell you. But then yes, so I also believe a lot in gassing yourself up. That's what keeps me going. I gas myself up if I'm feeling exhausted emotionally, mentally. Of course, there are days where I'm just like, don't call me, don't text me, I'll text you.
Yeah.
And then the following day, I open my windows, I put on my YouTube, I dance, and then
you're back on track.
Yes.
Okay, so
That's what I do.
what are we looking forward to? Any exciting plans for the future?
We spoke a lot about money, cash flow. So I think team organizations like mine, Elokshini, I don't want to use the term small NPOs, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Organizations that are developing like mine. I know that we have a hard time fundraising. We have a hard time convincing people with 50 rand in 10 material. We have a hard time doing that. So if we can collaborate as not-for-profit companies and come together as a collective and fundraise together, I think in that way we'd stand a chance in convincing bigger corporations to fund us, to fund our initiatives, our programs, and help us grow also, and help other people. Because with our organizations, I believe we can create employment education and hire people and pay them through our organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we want those kind of partnerships with the bigger organizations, we need to show the work that we've been doing collectively here.
Yes.
How do people get a hold of you? How do ECD professionals and centers, people who have watched today's episode and desire to partner with you, where do they find you?
We do have a Facebook and an Instagram page at Imibala Foundation, and you can get all your details there. There's phone numbers, there's all that.
Thank you very much. I think you've sort of inspired that while we are on this journey of building these profitable businesses that we will leave behind, it is equally as important for us to consider our contribution to the community outside of profit. And I think these two need to work hand in hand. And I said to someone the other day that I don't know one billionaire that doesn't have a foundation or a not-for-profit organization. So it sounds to me like, whatever you get, you need to be able to give back to our communities as well.
Yeah, I agree. So I think for not-for-profit companies, for them to grow, we need profit organizations, profit-making organizations, to support us.
Yes.
Because we can look to the bigger foundations to come and develop our organizations and guys, but we already have the money in here. If you guys, profit-making businesses, help us so that we help others.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
It was lovely speaking to you. I think myself I've learned a lot from this episode, and I look forward for us to have an ongoing journey together. And I believe that just as much as we will continue to develop and invest in the profitable organizations, we will equally show our commitment as Kasimogo's in the making to making sure that these not-for-profit organizations are supported and that we move on this journey of community development together. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.
Hey there. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to see more of our tasty videos, and do not forget to hit the bell so you can get them first while they're still piping hot.